What's going on there, guys? We're back with another one, and I want to talk about Shedeur Sanders on the day. Some of the questions he had to answer. We found out that Shedeur still hasn't gotten any reps with the ones in training camp. Sometimes he's even throwing to equipment managers instead of actual receivers on the Browns team, and I thought that was interesting because he's the only quarterback that they have doing that. And is this sort of just a mental gymnastics, to see where his mind is, how he will perform when the odds are stacked against him? Or are they really playing mind games and they have no intention on allowing him to work himself up the depth chart? Now, I think Shedeur, uh, all these experiences will be good because I think there's no way he doesn't get an opportunity in Cleveland. None of these guys are the future for the team, and I think he'll get his opportunity. Now, some is saying that Cleveland can look better earlier if you go ahead and give Shedeur that opportunity. Instead of trying to filter through all four of these quarterbacks, and then by week 10, week 11, you finally give Shedeur a chance. So, I don't know, man. Let's get into what Shedeur had to say today at the press conference. Let's peep it.
Shedeur, how do you maximize? I know that the reps are being divided up between four. How do you maximize the time when you're not getting the reps? What do you do to kind of take advantage of that?
I'll say just have a deeper level of understanding, because I know whenever I get my opportunity, I gotta maximize it. So that's something you have to change in the mentality standpoint and the mental standpoint is okay. I just got to think about what I could do to get better, even if I'm not getting reps, and it's no problem.
Here with pass catchers, like watching you yesterday in the early part of practice, and sometimes you're throwing to some of the equipment guys. Like, how do you maximize those opportunities, even when it's not a pass catcher that is going to be on the roster?
It doesn't really faze me. You gotta understand, we came all the way from HBCU to Power 5, and then now we're here. So at this point, if you look around, there's nothing, that's a challenge, I'd say.
How are you approaching the four-man competition as you get to training camp, as you get closer to preseason and then week one?
I'm focused on doing me. I'm focused on learning what I need to learn. That's simply it.
Are you thinking about winning that job for week one?
I don't think nobody in this organization is here if they're not trying to win. Honestly, I think, they're trying to win who gives out the best water and Gatorades out here. So it's definitely a competition in everything in life. It's so many cameras out here. It's definitely competition with content, obviously, too. So I think everything in life boils down to competition.
Why aren't you getting any reps with the ones at any point?
I don't think that's not my place, to answer, to even be able to give the answer to that. I feel like it's not in my control. So I'm not even going to think about that or have that even in my thought process of why it is. Like, it's a lot of people that want to have the opportunity to be at this level, and I'm here, and I'm thankful to have the opportunity. So whenever that is, it is. But it doesn't make me feel down, or it doesn't make me feel left out or anything, because I know who I am as a person, I know who I am as an individual, and I know what I could bring to this team. So I can never feel less than, in any circumstance.
Apparently, Kenny Pickett yesterday threw quite possibly the worst pass in the history of Browns training camp. Shedeur Sanders apparently is throwing not to receivers, but to equipment guys. They've got equipment guys like Jug snapping him the ball and then also running the routes. I don't know. Mahomes is throwing to Kelsey. Shedeur is throwing to equipment guys. Okay. Dylan Gabriel looks like the best quarterback in camp. Joe Flacco looks old. I don't know, 4 for 10 yesterday. But, Chris, I'm starting to think that once the season starts, we're actually going to utter the name Dylan Gabriel more than we will the name Shedeur Sanders.
So Shedeur pretty much saying, I can't control the reps that I get. All I can do is go out there and be the best version of myself. Eventually, that'll be good enough because I know that's what I'm capable of. And that's the right mentality. You coming into camp and you're the fourth guy in the rotation. I think everybody knows that at this point, just based off how the team is moving. whether that's right or not. Highlights we've seen, Shador's playing backup reps. Only quarterback that hasn't seen a singular snap with the first team. And I think that's telling so far with the way they want to move. And, based off what we're seeing, though, and based off some of the statistics that have come out of camp, it appears that Shedeur may have, maybe he should have had the opportunity to show what he could do with that first unit. I see a lot of the players quote tweeting him, saying he's him and all that. And maybe even some of the players prefer it. Now, if you're going to go with Dillon Gabriel early, for the organization, you're going to put a lot of pressure on him. If you're not going to go with Shedeur Sanders, you might, because it matters the way you manage this thing, you might want to go with one of the veterans first, because nobody's really going to say too much of anything. I mean, yeah, they will want Shedeur to be out there on the field, but if you choose the other rookie over him, you better make sure he's ready for that pressure, because rookies often struggle, right? He's not going to be extended that same grace he normally would, because many people feel like Shedeur is already better. He's the bigger quarterback. We saw what he was able to do at the college level in some of the biggest moments. So if Dillon comes out and he bombs, you may kill his confidence forever. It's almost better to go with Shedeur first. And if Shedeur struggles a little bit, then you bring Dillon in. That would take some of the pressure off of him, because Shedeur is the guy that's ready, I think most ready to perform under the immense pressure, because they're performing essentially to be the quarterback of the future for this franchise. If you go with one of the veterans, though, you don't put any immediate pressure on either rookie. And I think, maybe week one you want to do that. Now, this is going to be the interesting thing for me, though. More than even the season when it gets here, those 3 weeks of preseason, how are they going to divide the reps? Will Shedeur get any reps with the first team? I don't see how that's possible, because they haven't given him any right now in training camp. Is he going to work his way up the depth chart? But you want to see what every quarterback can do at game speed, in the preseason. Because you're not in a position to overly invest in the future with the vets, because you really want Dillon and Shedeur to get all those reps. And so I was pleased with how Shedeur answered these questions. He don't feel less than. I think this can work for his good to have to get it out the mud this way, because he hadn't done this. And now that narrative that it was all his father can be taken away in an instance. If you work your way up from this and you get the starting job eventually and start balling out, what can they say at that point, right? Can they really say it's because of Dion? Nah, because they ain't been able to say that since the draft. They didn't take him to the 5th round. We're gonna see though, man. I'm thinking Shedeur is gonna play at some point this season. He's gonna get a start this season at some point. I just don't know how this thing is going to go, but I think they have to be careful. If you're not going to choose Shedeur as the rookie to start week one, you could kill Dillon Gabriel's confidence if he goes out there and he struggles. You got the crowd saying we want Shedeur. I mean, it could be a big mess. So if you're going to go with anybody else, in my opinion, you got to go with the vets if you're not going to let Shedeur rock out. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time. Peace.